Yeah. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna get started. We might have other people pop in and I have to mess with this every now and then, but anyhow, let's start off cross-legged and you can close your eyes for a sec. And we'll take a few breaths. It is definitely heating up outside, so I have to try to cool off for a second here. And we'll just take a few deep breaths. So try to relax your shoulders, let them sink down from your ears. And we've got a slight lift in the chest, but you don't have to feel like you're sitting up really high. Just a little lift so that it's easier to breathe. And as we're sitting here breathing, go ahead and take your chin and just tuck it back. So pull your chin in as if you're giving yourself a double chin or a triple chin or whatever. A few breaths here. And relax that chin. Go ahead and drop it down to the chest. Still letting those shoulders feel heavy. Okay, we're gonna inhale, lift the chin, kind of bring the arms behind you a little bit and just open through the chest. Maybe pull the shoulders and the elbows back. Big breath in, we're gonna exhale and fold it forward. So send those hands out in front of you. Still breathing kind of deep, letting those hips warm up a little. Okay, we're gonna inhale, come on up. You can sit up tall again. We're gonna drop one ear towards your shoulder. Inhale, bring your head through the center. Exhale to the other side. Bring that head back to neutral. One hand's gonna go down. We're gonna reach up and over. Breathing in, exhale to place that hand down, and then same thing on the other side. All right, you can bring that hand down. We're gonna lay down on the mat for a second. So you can go ahead and lay down on your back. You can place your feet flat if you would like. And from here, we're gonna place the hands off to the side, palms down on the floor or on the mat. And you can rock your knees side to side. Move this mic so you can actually hear me here. Just kind of easily rocking knees one side and the other. We're keeping our feet down. Getting into those hip rotators. Getting into those yawns too. Okay, we're gonna bring the knees back to the center and then lift your feet up off the floor so that your knees and hips make a 90-degree angle, like you're sitting sort of in a chair. Okay, we're gonna take the hands and place them next to our hips, palms up, so we're up off of the floor. So our arms are floating up. Take a big breath in. Exhale and try to lift the head slightly off the floor so we're tightening through the midsection, through our belly. Breathing for a couple moments. And then we're going to lower the head and shoulders down. You can place those hands down on the floor next to you. Keep the feet up, but then allow your hips to rotate. Drop your knees off to one side of the mat. So now a much bigger stretch through the side of your body. That's my back. We're going to inhale, draw the knees through the center, and then exhale to the other side. And bring those knees back to the center. We've got hips and knees 90 degrees. Take those hands, float them next to your hips. Big breath in and exhale to slightly lift your head and shoulders off the mat. So big contraction through your abs. Take a couple breaths. We're gonna rest the head back. Place the hands down. Sorry, yawning. Place the hands down and we're gonna drop the knees off to one side one more time. So moving those knees over. And breathing in, draw through the center, exhale, drop the knees to the other side. All right, we're gonna pull those knees back in. Go ahead and send the legs out nice and long. Give your hips a rest for a sec. We're gonna take those hands and starting from down by the hips, so arms are in contact with the floor. We're gonna circle the arms away from the body, so keep in contact with the floor the whole time. Up past the shoulders, as far overhead as you can. And if the shoulders are not letting you go too far, then don't push through it. Should be nice and light. Pausing overhead. Just taking a few breaths, letting the underarms open up and get a big stretch. Now we're gonna take one arm and circle it across and over. So we're gonna keep that circle going with that arm, kind of crossing your head over to about the level of your chest. So we're reaching across here. You can bring your other arm down and grab hold, and we're gonna end up in a shoulder stretch. So we're just reaching across, grabbing, yep, and then pulling to stretch the back of the shoulder. And you can allow those arms to circle back down by your sides again, palms up toward the ceiling, down on the mat. Take a couple of breaths. Now one more time, we're gonna circle those arms up, keeping them in contact with the floor for as long as we can. Nice and gentle all the way around so that they're up overhead. And once they're up and as close together as they can get, just take a few breaths. Then we're going to take the opposite arm this time, cross it over, circling across your face, down to the level of your chest. We're going to bring your other arm across and stretch. Awesome. We can circle those arms back around again so they're not all stretched across your chest. So before we sit up, we're going to bring one knee up toward our chest. Now, if you can reach down to your feet, maybe reach down and massage into your foot. If you can't grab your feet, you can just hold that knee at your chest. You can take a second and massage into the arch of your foot or in behind your toes, kind of warming up through the feet. Unless your feet are extra stinky, and then you can avoid this. My feet are hurting today. Okay, then we're going to lower that leg down. We're going to repeat on the other side. So bring that knee up. And if you can reach your foot, you're going to massage with your hand. Otherwise, you can just work on holding the knee at your chest. Okay, awesome. We're gonna take those legs, you can cross them over your hips. We're gonna try to grab hold of both feet if you can reach them. Take a couple of swings, and we're gonna try to roll on up on the mat. You got it. Good deal. All right, we're gonna go forward, and let's go on to hands and knees for a sec. We're gonna go through cat and cow, just stretching out through your hips. I mean, your hips and your shoulders and your back. Fun piece of trivia, I always get the cat and the cow one mixed up. I can't remember which one's which half the time. All right, so we're starting in neutral. And then big breath in, we're gonna arch through the spine, lift your forehead and your tailbone. And then on the next exhale, you'll round, lowering your forehead and tucking those hips. We're gonna inhale again, arch through the spine, lift your forehead and tailbone. On the next exhale, we'll round, move those shoulder blades away from your spine, hugging the bubble. So our whole body feels like it's hugging around a bubble without breaking it. And then two more, nice and easy. Inhale, arch the spine. And then exhale to round. Awesome, we're gonna return to neutral. Let's curl the toes under for a sec. We're gonna walk the hands forward and just sit back in like a downward puppy position. So big stretch through the base of the feet. And if this is hurting your toes or knees or ankles, you don't have to go back quite so far. Give it 2 more breaths, trying to open through the lats, through the sides of the back. Okay, then we're gonna inhale, bring it forward. We're gonna bring the shoulders over the hands and just go into a high plank, but on your knees. So you don't have to keep your toes like this unless you want to, but tuck those hips under and try to think that you're making a straight line from your shoulders down through your hips and to your knees. Now big breath in. As you exhale, just soften those hips, allow them to sink down. We're gonna stretch out through the front of the body. So if this overarching is yucky on the back, you don't have to go down quite as far. We're just allowing the hips to open a little bit. Get one more big breath in. Okay, and then we're gonna exhale back. Let's send the knees out wide, bring the big toes together. And once again, big stretch through the front of the body, sinking that forehead down. My nose will not stop itching. Two more relaxed breaths, letting that belly fall toward the floor as you inhale. Okay, then we're gonna come up, keeping those hands where they are. We're gonna go into downward dog. So bring the knees back in, curl the toes under one more time, and hips are gonna go up and back. Now stretch out through the back of the body. So you're trying to feel like you're getting as much lift through your tailbone as you can. Big breath in. We're going to exhale, move the hips forward so we can move into a high plank on your feet. So we're just going to try to get maybe 3 breaths here. Keep those shoulders held down. One more big breath in and out. And then we're going to send the knees down. Go ahead and lower the chest down toward the mat. We're going to place the forearms down and just go into our little Sphinx pose, this easy back bend. So trying to pull those shoulders down and together on your back. So rather than turtling like this, we're pulling those shoulders down and allowing the crown of our head to lift up slightly. 2 more breaths. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and come back and up off of the floor. We're gonna stand on up. So take your time getting up there. Don't fall over, like I almost just did. Okay, so starting off with feet or shoulder width wide, we're gonna spread out our toes, soften those knees just a little bit. We're gonna have our hips in neutral, so don't let your butt kind of stick out. Instead, think about like this is a pail of water and you're trying to not let the water drop. So we're gonna flatten this out here and lift through the chest slightly. You can close your eyes. Let's take a couple of breaths. Maybe even turn those palms forward just to sink those shoulders some more. We're going to take those palms, your hands, clasp them behind your back. And you can either pull the elbows back or kind of punch the hands toward the floor. Little lift through the chest. And then keeping those hands clasped, we're going to soften the knees a little bit. Allow the hips to press back as we start to stretch down toward the floor. Should feel like a big hamstring stretch. And then once you get about halfway down, you can release the hands and then stretch them down the rest of the way. Two more breaths. Okay, we're gonna press those knees forward, hips forward. Go ahead and bring it on up. We're gonna walk up toward the front of the mat for the next couple. So we're gonna be moving into like a lunge position. One leg is gonna send it back. And we're gonna keep our shoulder width there, yep. And then we're gonna take this same arm as our front side leg and place it into that soft spot between your hip and your lower ribs. So we're pushing in there, keeping those hips tucked under. Take that backside arm and stretch it up and over. Still trying to keep that slight lift in the chest. Okay, then we're going to lower that hand down. Keep the same leg forward, but let's actually take this hand, drop it back. You can straighten up the front leg a little bit and just reach up and back away from that front leg. So I'm actually like settling my hand down on the back of my knee so I don't feel like I'm going to fall over. Okay, let's bring that arm down. Go ahead and straighten on up. Let's bring that leg forward and try with the other leg. So we're sending the opposite leg back. We're going through the same thing. We're trying to move that weight forward over our front leg. Our hand is in there, in here, on this side, on that soft spot, and then back arm is gonna go up and over. My belly is making all these grumbly noises. So trying to stretch into some of those deeper core muscles. Give this one 2 more breaths, still lifting through the chest. That way you're getting that big stretch along kind of the front lateral part of your torso. Okay, then we're going to take that top arm, stretch it back behind you. You can straighten up slightly in your front leg and then reach that arm up and back. This one, 2 more big breaths. And we're going to bring that arm down, bring the body up, pull that leg to the front. So one more time, softening through the knees. We're going to send the hips back, hands down. Try to relax more now through our upper body. So try to feel those shoulders sinking forward. Big inhale, press the knees forward, hips forward. We're going to clasp the hands again. Open up through the chest. So either straight arms or elbows kind of flared and pulled back. And big inhale, release those hands. Exhale, send the hips back, hands down again. This time we're going to fold the forearms just to give extra weight to those shoulder blades. Two more breaths here. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale and bring it on up. Let's take one hand, stretch it up toward the ceiling, so as high as you can, and stretching back as far as you can. We're going to bend that elbow and try to lower your hands toward the middle of your back. And that might already be stretching. If you need to, you can push that hand back with your other arm. Just holding for a couple of breaths. And now we're trying to get this feeling of lifting through the chest. That way we keep that elevation in the elbow. Try your best to keep that hand there, and let's take the other arm and stretch it behind your back. So as if you're trying to reach those fingertips to touch. They don't actually have to touch, but as if you're trying to reach those fingertips to touch. This is hard to do and keep your chest up, so try not to start to round. Instead, keep that chest lifted the whole time. Okay, we're going to release those arms, give them a little swing. And then we're going to try the same thing on the other side. So the other hand is going to go up toward the ceiling. We're stretching it back as far as we can with just our muscles. And then we're going to bend that elbow, try to reach that hand down between the shoulder blades, and you can assist with the other hand if you need to. And then same thing here, we're going to take the other arm and try to reach it behind your back. See if you can feel like you're stretching those fingers close to each other as you can. Still keeping that lift through the chest. So we can relax those hands, release them on down. We're gonna go ahead and sit down onto the mat. Wait, take your time getting there. You can lay on down on your back. And we just like stood on our feet for a while. So if you needed to wiggle out your toes or anything, you can take a second to do that. Maybe roll the ankles. We're gonna go ahead and lay those feet out. So either bend knees with the feet flat, or you can lay them out underneath you. You can have your palms up or on your belly. Let's take the last couple of minutes just to relax here. We did a whole bunch of stretches today, a whole bunch of upper body stretching. Let those shoulders lay open and kind of flat against the mat. And try to breathe deep through your belly. We'll just lay here for one more minute. As you decide you're done for today, you can sit on up. Feeling okay? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming and watching. I know some of you guys are going to be watching this after the fact. The donation link is in the description below on YouTube if you're watching there. Anything's appreciated, and you guys are da bomb. We're going to keep doing this for a while. So, see you.